And we are live right now from the 2026 draft here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at Acrisure Stadium, formerly known as Heinz Field. I'm TJ Wilkerson here for VTRN 93.3 FM and PBJ Productions. He's Joey Palermo from Cookeville, who, without him, high school sports doesn't air. And outside of that, he's an all-ball knower. So, Joey, how are you doing today, man?
Do as well as I can be, man. I feel like there's almost feels like I'm in Pittsburgh with you watching this, but
Now,
I'm very much
I'll, t-
enjoying it, and I'm really
I'll
looking
tell you
forward
what, man.
to another
I'll
great
tell
year
you
of
what.
this.
In my first time in Pittsburgh, the traffic, as expected, was horrendous. But I'll tell you what threw me for a loop. Literally, the bridges and all the connectors around here literally threw me through a loop. It took me forever to
Mm.
find my right parking spot today. I literally, my goal was to be here, right, by 4 p.m., right? I
Uh-huh.
pull up to the stadium like my email tells me to go to this lot. I get to this lot and they go, oh, media parking somewhere else, right? I don't see an email for any other parking spots. So I'm asking for help. I'm like, hey, it says I'm supposed to park here, but now I'm being told I need to park here. And they said, yeah, if you take a left and a right and a left and then circle back and another left. And it was just chaotic. And it took me an hour and a half before I was like, you know what? Just going to park here. I will pay $50 for parking. I don't care anymore. I just need to get to the venue. So
It's
you know
crazy.
how that is, Joey, how stressful it is to even get to the venue. You know, this being my first draft live on site,
Hmm.
it was stressful enough to get up here. But we're here. It's nice and sunny. I'm glad I didn't throw my coat on. I didn't know if it was going to be cold or not. I asked Siri, and obviously it said it was going to be a cool 60, 70 degrees, but it's nice, toasty, and we're live here in the media workroom. So we'll get right to it because, I mean, the people, they don't want to hear my expenditures to Pittsburgh. They'd rather hear Mr. All Ball Knower here go into the details of the draft. And Joey, the class, people will say is not super exciting. And maybe it's because outside of one quarterback that really highlights the first round, there's not many. Now, there's rumors that Ty Simpson will be drafted later on if the Cardinals decide to move up, if the Jets decide to surprise everyone and take him at 16 or trade back. We've even heard rumors that Carson Beck could be a bachelor for the first round tonight. Definitely has improved to days, but I don't see a world where Carson Beck is a first round drafted quarterback. But if he is, I will give him a nice clap because, man, I think there's potential there if he does better, kind of like Drew Aller. If Drew Aller does better in big game situations, and Carson Beck's won the big games, not saying he hasn't, but there are times where he's really faltered in key moments, you know?
Mhm.
What do you think, Joey? You think Carson Beck goes in the first round tonight before we get started? Let's start there with all these rumors. One of the many rumors, by the way, in this draft.
Yeah, there's a lot of rumors, all right, and they certainly factored into my plans. Carson Beck for me is the clear quarterback three. I think it's him, Ty Simpson, and Beck, and I don't think you need me to tell you that. At the end of the day, TJ, I think you said it perfectly. He has been there. He's been to the big game, but unfortunately, I would argue, unlike JJ McCarthy, who got drafted 2 years ago, he has not won the big game. And he is, in my opinion, the reason why Miami are not national champions right now. And
Yeah.
so for me, is there a lot to like? Absolutely. There's a reason he's being touted as a day one quarterback. But for me, I don't know if it's worth trading up for him. I certainly don't know that it's worth some team who's already in a Jets at 16 or, in Arizona. What are they going to do, right? I mean, even the Rams. I've heard the Rams linked to a quarterback with Stafford getting old and Jimmy G possibly retiring. So
Yeah.
I think it's very possible we could see something crazy. I know there was a tweet out there that said there's something crazy that could happen in the first round that nobody's even familiar with what's going to happen, but all we know is it could happen. But I also feel like they say that every year about every draft, so we'll see.
I'm just trying to think of what team would make that push to get him first round. I'm bewildered. Okay, if Cardinals miss on Ty Simpson, do they take that jump, or would they just wait till second round? I definitely think he'll be second round. Question is when, but if the Cardinals make that jump, if the Cardinals don't get Ty Simpson, right? They decide not to go draft a quarterback first round, right? Or trade up. Do you pick up Carson Beck in the second round then at that point if you're the Arizona Cardinals, or do you go the guy with the big arm and Drew Alar, who's he's had a massive injury this past year, but he's got the arm strength. If he gets the accuracy right, I think he's NFL ready. Maybe Garrett Nussmeier. What are your thoughts on that?
I think if it's not Ty Simpson for Arizona, then I think they are going to kind of bite the bullet with what they've got at quarterback.
Right. But Jacoby Brissett, who apparently wants a deal, right? Doesn't he want like an extension deal or something? Did that recently come out?
Like enough money to where he is considered QB1 is the report. And I don't know about you, but giving a quarterback who won one game in the regular season enough money to QB1 is, for me, just not feasible. So I would be, I'd look out for Brissett as maybe a day 2 or day 3 trade candidate, if anything. But I think if it's not Ty Simpson, he's the only name I've heard linked to Arizona. I think it will be interesting to see where Arizona goes, but I think I just spoiled one of my picks because I would also look out for Pittsburgh. I mean, this is the second year in a row that they've been messed around with a whole Aaron Rodgers thing, and he's been dormant for the whole offseason because he doesn't know what he wants to do. They drafted Will Howard last year, and he was never expected to start, but he is now unofficially the backup behind Mason Rudolph, who do they trust him? Do they not trust him? I don't know anymore. So if they're just fed up with the whole Aaron Rodgers situation, who's to say they don't trade up and get a Carson Beck? You know, I mean, because Pittsburgh has a decent second round pick, and Arizona's got 34 in tomorrow's day 2. So I think that's another team to look out for. I think it's very interesting to see what Pittsburgh does in this draft. But I mean, if not Ty Simpson, to answer your question, I think the next one available, honestly, it could be Carson Beck.
And we'll have to text Zach Wheeler because Zach made a comment about it, as you were saying. So it's going to be interesting. I kind of wonder. I know the Dolphins just signed Malik Willis to a big deal, but do you think they would? No, because now that I think about it, they have Quinn Ewers. I think
it's day 3, if anything, because they got 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, I agree. I just remember Quinn Ewers too. They're high on him as well. Maybe the Browns sneak QB in there if they're really desperate. If Barry's really desperate.
Hey, listen, I've told people last night, I said, look, you talk about a team that would shock a lot of people. If the Browns get Ty Simpson, that is the most Andrew Barry move and most Cleveland Browns move that you have ever seen.
Yeah.
That's not out of the realm of possibility.
I agree. All right, well, then we'll get started here. Go ahead and get this mock draft on the roll. The final one before it starts in an hour and a half. We are an hour and a half now from the draft starting live here in Pittsburgh. All right, Joey, let's be honest here. Fernando Mendoza, number 1. Everyone knows it. There's no doubt here.
No, I mean, there really isn't. I think if it's anyone else, then you're at risk of pissing off the Raiders fan base to no end. And honestly, I think the draft really starts after 1 for us.
I agree. And I think whatever the Raiders do here, right? Or not the Raiders, sorry. Whatever the Jets do here, I think will decide the line. Because everyone's saying David Bailey, right? So if you do draft David Bailey like I have the Jets doing, then that opens Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles, and you've got teams like the Cardinals. Yeah, you could maybe draft Jeremiah Love, but you don't have the O-line to protect him. Running back isn't a dire need. Yes, he's the best player in the draft, in my opinion. But if you're not feeling the needs, right, to really start succeeding, the Cardinal staff itself is on their last legs. Everybody there is on their last legs. And I'd argue Tennessee's the same way. I would love Jeremiah Love in Tennessee with Cam Ward in them, but part of me wonders if Arvell Reese is available. Do the Cardinals bite the bullet and grab Arvell Reese? And that's what I've got right now.
Okay. So
What do you have the Jets? I know we skipped over your Jets pick. Sorry, but
That's
who
fine.
do you have the Jets getting first off? And where does the draft really bust open for you?
It's after the Jets pick because
Okay.
I think they're down to 2, and I think everybody knows they're down to 2.
Yeah.
And it's a matter for me of preference. Now,
Yeah.
basically, the timeline was up until about 3 days ago that the Jets were getting Reese. And then it became a situation of, they're taking Bailey because they want the immediate production.
Yeah. Yeah.
I personally have Arvell Reese here because two big differences. Number one, Arvell Reese has handled himself really well in interviews and the combine, stuff like that. Number two, this is a big one for me. Age. David Bailey's 22. Arvell Reese is 20. You have more mileage out of an Arvell Reese if you treat him right in the defense than you do David Bailey. I understand the immediate production, but you can build up Arvell Reese as the future piece of your defense.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's Reese. But if they take Bailey, then we might see some craziness. But I have Arvell Reese at 2.
Right, absolutely. Sorry, I've got like a bunch of my work texting me. What did you say? So who did you pick with the Jets?
Arvell Reese is my number 2 pick.
Arvell Reese. So then you saying David Bailey to Arizona?
No. Not to Arizona.
Oh, okay, Okay, who's Arizona got, or have you traded? You got Arizona trading, don't you?
I have Arizona trading because that's the
Okay,
that's
who are they
concept.
trading with?
So
Yeah,
I thought
that's the
about
news
this
I've been
for a
hearing.
while. There's a couple teams that boiled down to, but for me,
Right.
there's a team that's known for trading up in drafts and giving up their entire capital to make sure that they get who they want.
Right.
I have my New Orleans Saints trading up from 8 to 3.
Mm-hmm.
And they will be the ones to take David Bailey.
Okay. All right. I like that. Okay. All
For a
right.
big-
So then that leaves what? The Titans?
Couple big reasons, just for my reasoning, because I have a whole list.
Go for
here.
it. Go for it.
The Saints need help everywhere defensively. And I think a lot of people's big boards have David Bailey as the top defensive player in this draft. Number one. Number two, the Saints have lost Cameron Jordan, among others, and they need somebody to replace him. It's not Chase Young. That ship has probably sailed over there. So I am picking the guy. You trade up a lot. You might have to trade up players to get him as well. But I think with David Bailey's production and with the Saints just completely empty on defense, this has to be the year the Saints do something unlike what I thought they would do last year.
Yeah. I like that. And Saints really need that kind of defense, too. And Saints are the type of team that would make an aggressive move like that as well.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that. Okay. So you've got the Cardinals moving back to 8. Saints moved up to 3. So that means, okay. So if David Bailey's going to the Saints, who do you have the Titans taking at number 4?
Not Jeremiah Love.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not Jeremiah Love.
I agree.
It's not him because I like Tony Pollard over there, and I will die on this hill.
Yeah.
I like Pollard as a 1,000-yard rusher. I like Tyjae Spears as a third down back. Trust your running back game. That is not the priority. Who did they get in the offseason?
Right.
Robert Saleh. What does Robert Saleh want? A Fred Warner type linebacker to build around that defense. I like Cedric Gray. Don't get me wrong. He's a tackles machine. But the move is linebacker. With the 4th pick in my mock draft, the Titans, not the Giants, not anybody else linked to him, getting Sonny Styles.
All right, so Sonny Styles to the Titans. Does that mean you have the Giants getting Jeremiah Love at 5?
No. No,
No, you.
not at all. Oh, it's a crazy one, Zach. It's a crazy one.
Oh, you taking Tyson? Is this where you get Tyson going? Do you have Jordan
No,
Tyson going? Okay.
nope. DJ,
All right.
are you seated?
I am
Are you ready?
seated.
Are you ready?
Go for it.
Because the Giants are also trading this pick.
Okay. Who with who?
This is a crazy one, and I thought about it,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, "Are they actually doing this?" And I think they would because the Giants have a lot to spend. The Giants are winning as long as they don't screw up, and they've screwed up
Right.
before. But they have 2 top 10 picks, but I think they've got the capital to do this, and there's a team desperate enough to trade up for a certain guy.
Right.
The Giants are trading with America's team,
The Giants are trading with who?
the Cowboys.
So the cow in trading with rivals.
Yes,
Okay. And is this where Caleb Downs goes?
this is not where Caleb Downs goes.
Oh, all right. Who do you have Dallas taking?
With the 5th pick in my mock draft, the Cowboys will go up 7 spots to get Mansour Delaney from LSU.
Oh. Okay. Okay. Wow. Okay.
It is secondary is a need, and there is recent history about LSU corners that are top
Yeah.
5 grades being very good
Yeah.
immediately.
And
Is he
Dallas
CB1 in Dallas? That's for the Cowboys fans to find out. But
Mm,
Mansour Delaney has an A+ grade.
I would love that pick. I would not be upset with that. I just don't see a world if Caleb Downs is there. I don't see a world where Dallas doesn't go for it. But
But remember, Dallas also has
there
two
is a
first-round picks.
handful. I will agree with this. I think there's only like a handful of corners that are really good to start in the NFL in this class. And definitely the kid out of LSU for sure, Mansour. I think he's got what it takes to start in the NFL. So if Dallas gets him, I won't be disappointed at all. I wouldn't mind that pick. And there are plenty of safeties out there that Dallas could go and get, like Dylan from Oregon, like the kid out of Arizona State that's really shot up people's boards. I could see it. Okay. I like that.
I was
All right,
not
well,
expecting. I also was not expecting when I made this mock draft for this much chaos in the top 5. But
Right.
I have been doing my research. I know that the Cardinals are trying to trade down, and I know that the Giants have a lot of wiggle room in this draft with them just getting the 10th pick now. So I think there is a real world where we could see more craziness than you think, and maybe this is the craziness that was alluded to earlier on in this day.
Right. I could see that. Okay. All right. Well, I think all right, so I have the Giants keeping this, right? And I think right at this point, I think they're going to want someone to really like sugar up Jackson Dart, right? And I really think that this is where Jeremiah Love goes. And I think this is where the Giants will stay and take Jeremiah Love. I do think, however, Dallas and Cleveland would trade up because I do think Dallas is willing to move up. They've said it's expensive, but if you know Dallas, you know they're willing to move up. Cleveland's willing to trade back because you need linemen, but there are plenty of linemen to go around to where it's like, okay, it's not a viable thing if we go and if we go back, it won't affect us, right? So I've got Cleveland trading back with Dallas, and I think Dallas swoops down and gets Caleb Downs with this pick. And with it, I think Dallas trades obviously the 12th spot to Cleveland, and I think there's a swap where they trade their other first-round pick and end up picking up either Cleveland's second or third-round pick. I can see that happening.
Okay. So 1 pick apart, but we're thinking Dallas trades up.
Right.
Okay. So
All right.
our opinions are kind of flipped in that because I actually have the Browns keeping this pick.
Okay, so who do you have the Browns picking? Do you have them picking a lineman or?
No, I have them
Okay.
getting the consensus pick, actually, that a lot of people think is going to happen, which is Carnell Tate.
Oh, I like that pick actually. Okay, okay.
They need a. I mean, hey, he might not be receiver one on the Browns, but he's definitely a solid receiver too. And the thing is, the thing that I think is going to worry a lot of people about taking offensive line this high in the draft, the top lineman's got a herniated disc in his back, and you
Right.
look at the other guys on the line, it's like there's no Joe Thomas in this draft. There's no Luke Jokel or Eric Fisher in this draft,
Right.
right? Like,
Right.
there's no certified number one. Like, you can get, I think the theory among NFL teams is we can get great offensive linemen on later in the round or even on day two, day three. But I think the Browns also have 2 first-round picks. They think they could get an offensive lineman later in the first round.
I
So
agree.
get Carnell Tate.
Okay.
Give
I like
Shador
that.
or Gabriel or whoever you're going to throw out there another weapon. And for the love of everything, get a modicum of offense because it's clear that the Browns have been, I mean, you don't need me to say it. The Browns have been a defensively minded team forever. So get Carnell Tate and be happy with the results.
I agree. I agree. I like that. I like that. Okay. All right. So then next we have. Oh shoot,
Washington.
my computer's really. Yep, Washington. Okay. I think this pick is very interesting. All right. Like, you don't have a pick in the second round. You need a defense. You need another receiver. The question is, do you believe that the depth in defense is good enough for you to wait until the third, or are you willing to trade up later on? That's the question. I personally feel like this is a fit right now. Washington needs DBs. They need they need receivers. I do think this is a deep receiver class, which is why I think this is where Mansour Delane goes to
Ooh.
Washington. I think they take advantage of it here. Yeah,
Okay.
I think you need a DB here.
The Marshawn Lattimore replacement. I think that's a good pick.
All right, what's your pick for Washington?
This pick, DJ. So I alluded to this before we went on air because I think
Uh-huh.
you're interviewing people afterward. I think you're going to have a chance to interview a great pick. This is where Jeremiah Love goes. They don't trust Bill right now. He's not an RB1 yet. All their other running backs got traded. And look, I get Jaden Daniels had a terrible year. He had 2 bad injuries. And I get offensive line could be a priority for them. But if Jeremiah Love's on that board at 7, Washington scoops him up. Because he's the best player available right now.
Yeah.
And they would have seen the Giants would have not gotten him. The Cowboys would have traded up to not get him. And guess what? One of those guys is a corner. You don't have to worry about a running back, at least not all that much. That's not your priority. And then you've got, I mean, the NFC East will be doing wheeling and dealing. And weirdly enough, they got to deal with the Eagles still. And who's to say they don't trade up? So this is the Jeremiah Love pick at 7 to the Commanders.
All right, I like it. Okay. That would be a dynamic player for them, too. Okay, I didn't have the Saints trading up. You've got the Cardinals here. I've got the Saints.
Okay.
Saints have said that they have no interest right now, right, in getting a wide receiver, right? And if this guy falls to them, I truly think they would get him. Now, I get it. There's been news about his past. They said a lot about the short arms here, but I can see a world where Reuben Bain goes here to the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah.
Am I crazy? Probably. But
no, you're not.
I think the Saints are willing. If Saints aren't willing to get receiver, I think this is where they go and get the top edge left on the board.
That's fine. I mock drafted him in a couple other drafts. Absolutely fine pick for the Saints. I think they need to shore that up.
Yeah.
But you pointed out, I don't have the Saints here. I have the Cardinals here. And if there's one thing the Cardinals are good at, it's keeping things very interesting on draft night.
Mm-hmm.
And we teased a little bit about this maybe happening. But this is where teams will put their proverbial head over their hands and go, what just happened? Because TJ, the Cardinals will not be trading up in the first round to get Ty Simpson because they're going to draft him here with the 8th pick in the NFL draft.
Oh,
They
okay.
trade down, they're sold on their future, and they have plenty of picks probably because they'll have a massive capital from the Saints coming in.
Mhm.
So they'll think, we can build around him. We can get some linemen. We can maybe even look at
I'm sorry.
receiver
So
or
you
running back.
said Ty Simpson goes there? Are you saying the
This is
Cardinals
the Ty
draft Ty
Simpson
Simpson
pick
in the top 10?
right here at 8.
Oh, geez. Wow. Okay. Okay. All right. I see your logic. I see your thinking. Ooh. Okay. Okay.
They've
Okay.
got a haul. Bring all the picks
Okay.
in. We'll
You
build
know what's
around Ty
crazy? I can
Simpson,
see that happening too.
and Brissett is out the door.
Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Okay.
Oh
Okay.
man.
Wow. Okay.
Oh,
No,
man.
I see the thinking. I don't think it's bad at all. I'm just like, wow. All right. Well,
Yeah.
then I've got the Chiefs here.
Yeah.
And part of me knows they need to focus on defense, right? And if you don't have Ruben Bain or anybody there, you look at the DBs. My problem is McCoy. He's going to have surgery, right? There's also worry about Avion Terrell and his injury as well. So to draft a DB here would be kind of a reach. Excuse me, I don't know why I keep like burping. Sorry about that. That's not gross. But anyway, Chiefs have 2 first-round picks here. I can see them eventually departing with one of them, depending on who wants to trade up. I think if you have an OT here that you really need to protect Mahomes and make sure that injury never happens again because it's too early to reach on DB. I truly think that this is where Spencer Fano goes over Francis Magoa, right? And the only reason why is because you want a guy that's ready to go now, whereas Francis won't be ready to go if he's drafted today. He'll be later on. So I do think it's going to be one of those weird things where the best O lineman in this draft is not taken because of those concerns.
And I agree. And I think he's going to slide as a result of that. So, and I think Fano has been reflected as the top offensive lineman by a lot of people's boards in the last few days. So I think it makes a lot of sense. But on my board, there's a guy still here that the Chiefs are in love with. And if they see him, they'll draft him because they're really high on him. This is where Ruben Bain goes for me.
This is where who goes for you? Sorry, I'm going back and forth.
This is where Ruben Bain gets drafted for the Chiefs at 9.
Okay, and I think that would be a good pick. If Ruben Bain falls, the Chiefs will pick him up. So I do like that pick.
Absolutely. I think they're happy with that.
All right. So now let's see here. So we're now in the top 10 Giants. Okay. Trying to think. Here's my selections. Hold on. So I got the Giants taking Jeremiah Love in mind at number 5. Defense here. Backer, right? And this class is heavy defensively. So I've been hearing a lot of rumors of this receiver headed. Joey, it's going to be crazy.
Oh boy. Lost him. Well, I'll fill in for a little bit because my 10th overall pick is the Giants pick because they do not trade this. It's actually the Bengals pick. And he might have hinted to this, but we lost him. This is, for me, where Jordan Tyson goes. I think there's a lot of room for the Giants to make a big move here. And I think really they've fallen in love with Tyson. They had a pre-draft meeting with him. And I think 3 weeks ago, you really weren't expecting him to go anywhere. But the fact that like he's gone up this high, makes me think that he's going to get picked by the Giants because he is high on their boards. And I think there's also a world where the Giants are worried about what Miami does with their next pick, because the Giants are kind of worried about Miami. Who knows what they're going to do, right? So I think they're high on Jordan Tyson. I think some are saying he's the top receiver in this draft. Or maybe the receiver 2 is more accurate. So I think that would make a lot of sense. But I've got Jordan Tyson going to the Giants at 10. TJ is texting me live that the internet has cut out. So I will try to fill in more time by just going.
There we go. Okay. I don't know.
Yeah,
what
the internet got
there.
cut. That's all right. I filled in time for you because I made the
appreciate that. All right. So I made the crazy. So did you hear me make the crazy Jordan Tyson pick?
I did not, but I figured that's where you were going with that.
Well, I just have that feeling, man. I have that feeling Carnell Tate's going to slip for no reason.
Well, it's not as crazy as you think because I also have the Giants getting Tyson at 10.
Okay, there you go. All right,
Dude,
there you go.
Dude, Jordan Tyson is like the Giants are one of the only pre-draft meetings that Tyson had. Like they invited him to dinner a few days ago. Like they're in love with him. And if you get a draft like what you're saying with Jeremiah Love and freaking with Jordan Tyson, I think that's an absolute win for the Giants. And to think that all they paid was a grumpy Dexter Lawrence to do that, I think you're very happy with this. I think he's a clear receiver too.
That's awesome. Okay, I like that pick. I like that. Wanted to be in your mind. Okay, so with that said, where are we at now?
Miami at 11.
Going back and forth. All right, so now we got Miami. Okay, Miami's draft needs. That's interesting because I'm wondering if this is. Wait, no, they just added a receiver, didn't they? Didn't they just add a big time receiver?
No, but the rumors are they could trade for a receiver.
Oh, okay. All right.
There's been a hot rumor on draft day that the Dolphins are trying to get Brian Thomas Jr. from Jacksonville.
That's what I've heard.
Now, this pick was made before that happened, so bear with me here. But I've got the Dolphins getting a receiver at 11. And I think they're going to go for Mekhi Lemon out of USC.
Heard. You got them going with Mekhi Lemon?
I think he is a receiver 1, and I think you've got others at receivers 2 and 3 that I think are better fits on other teams.
I agree.
And I don't know, man. Maybe it's just the liberty in me that wants to see Malik have an actual weapon for once. But
I agree. I think Mekhi Lemon is sneakily the number 1 receiver in this draft. But this is where I have Carnell Tate going.
Okay,
Carnell
so you
Tate
say he falls all the way down.
What? Yeah. This is where I have Tate going. I know I just feel like Washington's going to get worried. Washington would get him if they weren't worried about the corners, limited corners. I do think that's where he goes, though. I'm not going to lie. I have a strange feeling Carnell Tate's going to be a commander.
I mean, that would be the dream for Miami.
Yeah.
For sure.
If he falls there, yeah, absolutely. Oh, man. All right.
And I'd love to see it.
So this is where I have the Browns going. And if they see that Francis is there, I think this is where Francis goes with Cleveland's pick right there.
Okay. I think they're happy with that.
I'm not confident in this draft. I'm not going to lie. I'm
not either. I think with all the amount of chaos that I've had in this mock draft, I I'm so worried that's going to be chalk now, and I'm just like, I would have built all these trades up for nothing. And speaking of
Right.
trades, I actually have the Giants down here because, as you recall, I traded them down 5-12 with the
Oh,
Cowboys.
absolutely.
This pick, the Giants will see this as an absolute win. Not that this is a need for them, or at least one of the biggest needs, but I think he falls right into their lap at 12. This, for me, is where Caleb Downs goes. I think you take advantage of that. The fact that safety one's up there so high. Who's to say you
Yeah.
don't use the nickel corner? Something like that. The Giants will get Caleb Downs at 12.
Oh, yeah. No, there's no denying that. I like that. Okay. So I have the Rams here, and this is where I think Mekhi Lemon goes because Matthew Stafford wants a weapon. He needs another weapon. His weapons are getting old.
Okay.
And USC standout returning to LA. Chef's kiss.
Sure. I think it's a great pick, but on my board, he isn't there. Tyson would have
Okay.
been gone, Tate would have been gone, and Lemon would have been gone. And I think there is a need for them to be like, hey, we saw these receivers go. Let's pick up X, Y, or Z. But I think at the end of the day, I think a lot of people see the next guy, Omar Cooper, as kind of a mid to late first round pick and not really
Yeah.
want to use this high.
Okay. Oh, okay. So I think
So,
I
TJ,
think I dig what you're feeling here.
here's my next trade.
Okay.
The Rams will trade down quite a bit. They're going from 13 to 23.
Oh.
And who's
Okay.
picking at 23 and just went up 10 slots? Every team's worst nightmare in this draft.
The Eagles. Oh, Howie. What is Howie going to do now?
Well, Howie, as you know, is big on Georgia people. But this is not a Georgia pick. This is actually their rival, a guy who they're very high on. The
Right.
Lane Johnson replacement at 13. They're going to get Caden Proctor from Alabama.
That's a smart pick. And that would honestly back up. Ooh, okay. Okay, I like that. I like that. Ooh,
And that
man,
tells you how far Mayaga's fallen.
Dang, I just accidentally. Ooh, okay. Well, I just made a whoopsie.
Oh, no.
I messed up my.
Oh, no.
So, I was going to have the Ravens take Sadiq, and I accidentally pressed because we were talking about him. I had them get Caden Proctor. Okay,
Oh,
look,
no.
O-lineman is something they do need, though, and I could see the Ravens getting that, but I don't know. I mean, you still have that kid from Penn State and Monroe Freeling from Georgia. I don't know. I do feel like Caden Proctor is shut up boards. Maybe Caden Proctor does go to the Ravens and they get O-line here. Because I think you got to protect Lamar Jackson. He was running for his life. That O-line is depleted. Why wouldn't you build it?
They will absolutely take a lineman here, I think, a pass protector, and I think a guy on my board that has fallen to them, and I think they see this as an absolute dream, the fact that he's fallen this far, even if he has gotten injured. This is where Francis Mayaga goes to Baltimore, because I think he is all things considered, he is still the best graded board offensive lineman in the draft. Even though Spencer Fano's there, and I think you're tempted by him, I think ultimately Baltimore settles on the 335-pound Francis Mayaga out of Miami.
Okay, so you have him falling there. You still have Spencer Fano on your board.
I do.
Okay. All right, we got Tampa Bay up now. Okay. Bucks team needs. I feel like, once again, this is another place O-line can go, but also you got to think. You can think receiver. You can think defense because they really need to build that back up. DBs could be an option here. I could see some DBs jumping on the board. And let me tell you one DB that has jumped off my board recently, Joseph. Okay. Let me tell you one DB that has jumped off my board, right? Okay. And it's not Jaron McCoy, right? It's not Avion Terrell. I think people are going to shoot high on this kid because of his combine times and with how many teams have been going for him for a while. This is where the kid Chris Johnson out of San Diego State goes.
Okay.
A lot of people are high on him and his coverage, and it's just that feeling, man. That feeling where you have this kid go higher than expected.
Okay. I mean, hey, I think they're happy with that.
Yeah.
I think the Bucks need secondary help. That's kind of been a thing since Brady left for me. So, not surprised there. However, the rumor is, as of this recording, we're recording this about 55 minutes before the draft starts. The Bucks. I hate to keep doing this, but the Bucks are looking to trade down from 15.
Oh, wow.
So yes, I have another trade.
Oh, hell.
Oh heck. And you alluded to him, and I think teams will trade up for him. Trading down are the Bucks to 24. The Cleveland Browns will trade up 9 spots and be aggressive in this draft. And I think with that pick, they'll get Spencer Fano out of Utah.
All right. Perfect. All right. Jets are back at it again. I can't remember. You still have the Jets with the 16th pick, right?
Jets are still at 16 for me.
All right. So I had them taking defense, rightfully so. David Bailey went for the Jets here for me. I need to plug in my computer before it dies. So, Joey, why don't you go ahead and tell them your pick while I focus on that?
Absolutely. So in my case, I had them getting Arvell Reese, and I think that makes a lot of sense for them. Obviously, I think the pick is either Reese or Bailey, so I think this is just going to be a matter of need. Are the Jets considering trading down the pick? I haven't heard much about anything here. They could trade back, but I just think given how the board's falling right now, I think they're thrilled with this at 16, and I think they would have just seen Tate go and Lemon go. They would have seen Tyson go, and I'm sure the Jets would have loved to get a Tyson at 16, but they'll get a receiver here. This is with the 16th pick in my draft. The Jets will get Omar Cooper Jr. from Indiana.
Dude, I have that too.
Let's go.
I have him jumping up to the Jets. Okay, that's awesome. I think that's the second pick you and I have agreed on today. Like, I think that that matches.
Yeah, the first one's Mendoza.
Pretty
so
awesome.
Hopefully we'll go 1 for 1 there.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I think this is where Jets go and pick that up. All right, so if I'm the Lions here, I don't trade. I want to take advantage of O-line.
Yeah.
And personally, I think it would be smart to go and get a guy like Monroe Freeling if he's still on the board here. You got to build O-line because half of your O-line got depleted before preseason even started last year. Didn't have time to make up for it, and it showed. So with that said, in order to give Goff more time to check down to Jahmyr Gibbs and give Amon-Ra St. Brown more time out in the field, I think this is where you draft an O-lineman and try and build up that O-line if I'm the Lions.
Well, TJ, we only picked one of the same pick after the first 15. We just drafted Omar Cooper together, and now we're drafting Monroe Freeling together because I also have the Lions getting Freeling. And I think they're very, very happy with this pick. And
Right.
I've heard the Lions linked to trading up to get a lineman. I don't think so. I think they're happy with where this is going. I think they're happy with the fact a lot of teams took skill positions. And Monroe Freeling, which I have heard scouts tell me, the Lions see him as the top offensive lineman in this draft.
I mean, it could be. I mean, Georgia had a splendid running game because of that O-line. So I think if you've got a top guy like Monroe up there, why wouldn't you draft him? You know?
Absolutely.
All right. So we are 43 minutes in. We are about 50 minutes away from draft time. So we will pick it up now. All right. We got Minnesota now, Joseph. Minnesota needs, there's plenty of them, I feel like. Linebacker, safety. And this is where a lot of mocks have this. And yeah. I'm no better than these other mocks, Joseph, because I have Dylan Thinman going here for the Minnesota Vikings. I do. I think he's not leaving top 20. He's not leaving top 20. And unless teams are ready to draft Falk at that position, that's the only other place I see Minnesota going, truthfully.
Got to reel him in. We're 3 for 3, baby. I'm not better than any of these other mock drafts. This is the most obvious. This for a lot of people. This is the
I heard
second most
Daniel.
obvious pick behind Mendoza.
I heard Daniel Jeremiah said in his last mock draft he purposely avoided giving the Vikings Dylan because it was so obvious, and he decided to be like a rebel today.
Well, Daniel Jeremiah does not have the class we do drafting for it. Because we've gone Dylan Thieneman because it's the most obvious pick in the world, and it's so obvious the teams might trade up to piss off the Vikings and get
Yeah.
Thieneman. But we'll see. But I think this is the perfect move for Minnesota, and we'll move on from that.
All right, perfect. All right, Carolina. I think Carolina can go so much here. This is going to be the interesting pick for me, Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
I think personally, if you're Carolina, I want to build defense, right? I want to continually build defense, right? Or build up on O-line. But to me, I can get O-line in the second round. So if I'm looking around here at what's available on my board, right, I want to go and get defense. And I just have that sneaky feeling because he's there, because he's hyped up, Keldrick Falk goes to the Panthers here.
Okay. So this is the most controversial pick from a lot of people's perspectives because a lot of people have boom or bust when it comes to Falk. And I think there is not a fan base in this draft that can tell you that they want to see Keldrick Falk get drafted. Spoiler alert, he is in my first round, but it's not in this pick. Because this, aside from Mendoza and Thieneman, what a lot of people have said is this is the third most obvious pick in this draft. And it's not on defense. It's not even a lineman. For me, the Panthers are getting Kenyon Sadiq from Oregon.
I like that.
Because I couldn't tell you who their tight end is right now. And that kid's a freak. He's like Darnell Washington. Picture his athleticism, but like 20 pounds less.
I like that. Okay. Okay. So next I have Cleveland on here now. I forgot I gave Cleveland.
You did.
I put Cleveland at 20, and then Dallas went to 24. So, with that said, if I'm Cleveland, I want to work on who do I have them taking? Let me look at my selections here. I can't even think for myself right now. All right, so if I'm Cleveland, computer is slow right now. Okay, so I had.
Oh boy.
Oh my gosh.
I don't like that. I don't like that laugh.
All right, so I had Cleveland getting Francis because I gave Dallas down Caleb Downs, right?
That low.
No. So now if I'm looking at Cleveland here and I look at Cleveland's needs, right? And Cleveland needs defense, right?
Okay.
This is where, see, that's hard.
You want to know who I have? While you mull that over?
Yeah, go for it.
Because I have Dallas here. Dallas does not trade their pick. Dallas stays here at 20. And with the 20th pick in this draft, they go a lot of ways. I've got Dallas getting another edge. Akeem Messidor goes to Dallas at 20.
Oh, did you say Akeem? Yeah, I like that pick. Pick. Akeem?
It's a bit of a risk, but all the receivers are gone. Pickens is signing the tag. The only concern I have is that Messidor's 25. But I don't think that will stop Dallas from taking what they see as the best edge left in this draft.
Right. All right, so if I'm Cleveland, right?
You're still thinking about it, huh?
I am. I don't know if I like the. Okay,
hey, Ty Simpson's on the board.
Right. Ty Simpson is on the board. I don't know. Cleveland's the type that would shoot for Denzel Boston here. I'll give them KC Concepcion. I think they need a receiver. I'll give them KC Concepcion. Okay.
Double the offense. I like Concepcion. Yeah. I think he's got a much higher grade than people are letting on. I think they're happy with that. falls there at 20.
Yeah. Okay. So who's next? Okay, so
For me, it's Pittsburgh. Still
all right.
Pittsburgh.
All right, so Pittsburgh. Ooh, I feel like we could go so much here. I think they go lineman here potentially. Hmm. Okay, what do you have? What do you have?
Also have a lineman. I've got them getting a guy that I think Steelers fans are dreaming about, and honestly, they held a private meeting with this lineman earlier on, and I think he is the best fit for them at 21 because honestly, Broderick Jones has not really worked out for them so far. With the 21st pick, the Steelers, for me, will get Vega Ioane from Penn State.
Oh, I like that pick. I like that pick. Okay. All right, so I like that pick. I like that pick. I think I gave them I gave them Blake Miller from Clemson. I forgot.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm confident about that pick now. I think I can. Okay, so next is what? Chargers?
For me, I have the Chargers.
Right. All right, yeah, you definitely need to work on deep. Okay,
Do
I
you?
like this one. I think this is where the Penn State kid goes.
Okay.
I like that, honestly. You
Okay.
need inside linemen, yeah. You need offensive guards. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Okay. I gotcha. So I think the Chargers process is very similar in that one, they do need offensive line help, and two, they would have just seen an offensive lineman go. The key in this one is they need a guard, not a tackle, because they've got Joe Alton, they've got some good tackles over there.
Right.
They're picking a versatile guy. TJ, this is the first one where this guy that I'm about to pick has a second-round draft grade, but he's the need for the Chargers right now. With the 22nd pick in this draft, I've got the Chargers getting Chase Bissonitz from Texas A&M.
Wow. Okay. I like that pick. All right. So we got the Eagles next. I think Eagles go O-line. I have them shooting for Max Yanker, right?
Yeah.
Yanker from Arizona State. I think it's the best fit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So this for me...
I think you got to build O-line. It's like what you pointed out when they traded up earlier, because you've got Landon Dickerson, who's constantly injured. Lane Johnson's on his final stem, literally his final stem, right? What if you have more O-line injuries this year? That is your pride and joy to the type of play that the Eagles like to run, right?
Yeah.
So you need to beef it up. And I think he's the guy that fits the mass, the build, and the kind of style of O-line tendencies that they like to run.
Okay. I think that's a fine pick. So if the Eagles go O-line, it's a win for them, honestly. But this for me was not the Eagles. They traded up in my mock draft. This is the Rams at 23.
Right.
And with this 23rd pick, I'm not going against the grain here. A lot of people think that this is a big year for the Rams. And I also know that Puka and Devontae are on contract seasons, and the word is Devontae might be on his last season in the NFL. So, with the 23rd pick in this draft, the Rams will get Denzel Boston from Washington.
Okay.
I think receiver's the priority for them, and I think they can trade down 10 spots to do it.
Okay. I have a trade. Are you ready?
Oh, boy, at 24?
I've got Carolina trading back into the first round.
Oh, who you got them getting?
Kenyon Sadiq.
Okay, so they still get Sadiq
Still on my
anyway.
board.
All right,
Yeah.
fine. Yeah, I think they're happy with that. That was the guy I had mocked anyway.
Because then Dallas gets more capital in the second.
Sure. I think Dallas is happy with that. I also have a trade because I had the Bucks trading down here, so they would be 24 in my mock draft. This, for me, is where Keldrick Falk goes. I think they can trade down enough to get a good edge there. And they're also linked to Keldrick Falk, and I think you can trade down to do that. So much like the Rams trading down to get their need, the Bucks will trade down to get their need as well.
I like it. All right, Chicago Bears. I say they build the D line or the edge, in all honesty, because you've got Montez Sweat on one side, but it feels like you don't have much on the other side. Look, I've been hearing a lot about this kid and how high he could jump. I think personally he could be a steal because I think he's first round talent if he falls to the second. A lot of people are going to hate me, but I think Cassius Howell jumps to the Bears' lap.
Okay.
I like Cassius Howell here.
He's been a late riser in a lot of big boards. So wouldn't shock me if he's a first round talent. I almost had him going in the first round.
Yeah.
And especially here as well, because I thought about it for Chicago, and I think they're also linked to him. But I have them going D-line. It's just not Cassius Howell. I have them picking up the best D lineman in this draft right now. I have them getting Caden McDonald from Ohio State.
I like that. All right, this is where a lot of defense goes for me because I think if you're the Bills, you build that D-line up, right? This is where Caden McDonald goes for me as far as the Bills go.
Gotcha. You just swap them around. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I also have the Bills going defense here. I think they will see the recent trends. And, I mean, this is the Joey Bosa replacement for me. I think this makes a lot of sense. Let's go T.J. Parker out of Clemson for the Bills.
I like this. I like that. Okay. 49ers need a safety, right? And Emmanuel has lately dropped down on boards. I think he'd be a good first-round pick, but there's another kid I've had my eye on, right?
Okay.
And he's really jumped up on people's boards lately. This is the stud, right?
Okay.
In Treydon Stoops.
That's the...
I think he's a safety / DB for Arizona.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. I mean, I have not heard much about him as a first-round talent, but we have seen first-round non-talents get drafted before. And
for sure. Or actually...
You want to know how I have?
Colton Hood was still... Oh, they could have gone Colton Hood. I think Colton Hood will go over McCoy, truth be told.
At this point, maybe. But I think... So I think the Niners go safe here. I think they see that Trent Williams is kind of on his last legs, even though they just extended him. You need more than just a 36-year-old Trent Williams to protect Brock Purdy.
Right.
So I think they go very safe here. I think they go Caleb Lomu from Utah.
I like that. Okay. Houston at the 28th. I think this is where you got to go O-line, right? Or that's tough. I feel like
this is the most controversial. I did a lot of research going into this for Houston. I have not had a clear consensus need or a clear consensus who they want. They're a complete wild card. I've even heard them linked to trading down this pick. If Ty Simpson's still on the board, then Arizona could trade up at this point for him. But honestly, I have no freaking idea who the Texans are going to get. I'll just tell you right now, I got them bucking the trend a little bit. I think I have them getting Peter Woods, the defensive lineman from, I believe it's also Clemson.
Wow.
It's a risk, but I think the theory is, assuming Ty Simpson doesn't, slide down to this point, the defensive-minded coach whispers to the GM, let's get defense here. And I think Peter Woods is there. And, I mean, if they get him, that defensive line's going to be more scary. But I have no clue.
Right. All right, you ready? I got KC trading out. This is where I have the Cardinals picking up Ty Simpson.
Let's hear. Okay. Gotcha. And I think for a lot of people, it's just a matter of what pick the Cardinals would trade up to get Simpson.
Yeah.
But on my board, he's already gone. So I think the Chiefs stay at 29. I think this is a lot more simpler than I think what a lot of people are saying could be the hectic end of the first round. The Chiefs need to protect Mahomes. I did not have them getting an O-lineman. I had them going defense first pick. So I think they will go with a man that you've already mentioned here, and I think they will go Blake Miller, offensive tackle from Clemson on pick 29.
Nice. Give me a second. You go ahead and do the next pick.
Well, So this is Miami still at 30 because this is their
Right.
second first-round pick. And I think there is enough of a risk with the Dolphins having what they have in this draft to do this. There's a fellow Dolphins fan of mine that wants to see them get Colton Hood here, but that's not the pick. I think the Dolphins.
Who does Zach want Miami to get?
Zach wants Colton Hood, but it's not the pick for me.
All right.
This is the pick where Jermon McCoy gets drafted.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I mean, it's a risk, and they could trade for Thomas. And imagine that dream first round. Let's say they even do get Thomas and maybe give off some future picks next season.
Yeah.
I mean, think about the draft they would have had, right? Now you've got two great receivers in Brian Thomas and Mekhi Lemon, and then you go get Jermon McCoy, who up until he announced he was having surgery, a lot of people had him as CB2 in this draft.
Right.
Like, that's the dream if you're Miami. So why not take a risk?
Sure. All right. Well, I have. If I'm Miami, this is where I go O-line and get Lemieux out of Utah.
Okay. That's fine.
All right.
Protect the league.
So now you got New England here. Okay. So, what's your thoughts on New England? You're the New England fan as we finish up our mock draft here within the next few minutes.
Yeah. So, I think recency bias is going to play a big role in this. I think they see what they did the Super Bowl. I think you could go a lot of ways here, but I think New England has enough capital to get a decent edge day two and address their defensive and their losses that they had. Morgan Moses left in the offseason. He's not coming back, and there's a couple other linemen that left this offseason. Yeah. So I think offensive line, especially given Will Campbell's troubles at the end of the season, is what's swaying me to take this. And it's a man that, once again, you've already listed. But I think with the 31st pick, the Patriots are very happy to take Max Inachor from Arizona State.
I like that. Okay. Okay.
And I think he plays right tackle.
Nice. Well, yeah, I do feel like O-line should be a massive concern for Drake May and them. All right, so I've got another O-lineman sneaking in here.
Okay.
Excuse me, I'm so sorry. I think this is where... Jeez, I'm sorry. Ooh. Oh, no, I'm stupid. I didn't do a lineman. This is where I had Malachi Lawrence going. I forgot I put him with the Patriots.
So this is another guy that really...
I didn't realize I had T.J. Parker falling out of the first round. That's crazy.
Okay. I mean, it's fine. I mean, I haven't seen everybody list him as a first-round talent. I mean...
Right. That's crazy, though.
That's fine. I mean, I'd be interested to see where he would fit in the defense, but I know he's been trending high in the last, week or so.
Right. I didn't realize that. How did I not remember?
Hey, it happens to the best.
That is funny. Oh, my gosh. Okay. Well, I made myself look like a fool on live stream. Okay. All right, so Seattle, do you feel like they would trade out at this point?
Yes, because the GM has openly stated he wants to trade because he only has 4 picks in this draft.
Okay, so is this the Carson Beck pick? Is this where Cleveland comes in and gets Carson Beck or the Jets?
No, sir. This is not Carson Beck. Get him out of here. There's a reason he's not showing up. I do have a trade, though. But I think, and it involves a team that actually needs a quarterback, allegedly.
Okay.
The Seahawks will trade with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
And Pittsburgh has a lot of picks this year.
Right.
So I think they can do it. I believe they draft. I think it's they're down to I think the Steelers would actually be going up 20 spots because I think their next pick's 53.
Right.
But I think Pittsburgh got sapped away in defense last season. All they have is T.J. Watt, and that's Joey Porter Jr. Maybe that's about it. You could argue their starting safety right now is 33-year-old Jalen Ramsey, who I'm not sold on at this point. And knowing Ramsey, he might want to play corner again. But this guy, it's a little bit disrespectful, quite frankly, the fact that he's fallen this far. and I think teams will trade up to get him. Watch out. He could have a Lamar Jackson kind of impact in the draft room if he gets traded this high.
Wow.
The Pittsburgh Steelers at pick 32 will get Emmanuel McNeil-Warren from Toledo.
I like that pick. Okay. I like that. Okay. Wow.
And believe me, Steelers fans will panic if they see their team trade up at the end of the first round.
I like that. Okay. All right, Seattle. Okay. Wow.
I mean, John Schneider has openly stated he wants to trade this pick.
That makes sense. It's going to be an interesting draft night. Joey, I don't know about you, but I'm interested to see how this draft turns out tonight. I'm excited to see. I think to me, the first two picks are probably the most obvious. There's a couple of picks that may be super obvious depending on where the night goes. But I know people aren't high on this class. I mean, I think wide receivers and edge rushers and O linemen are your top showers this year in the draft. But I do think there's a lot of sneaky good competition here. I do think this draft class is better than people give it credit for. But I do think, depending on how next year shakes up and who actually leaves for the draft, I think next year could be better. Because you have Jeremiah Smith next year, a slew of quarterbacks like Dante Moore will more than likely join the draft next year. Trinidad Chambliss will definitely be in there. Arch Manning potentially. It's just a whole slew of players in there that I think could make the draft really interesting next year. But
yeah,
I'm excited to see how it pans out here in Pittsburgh. We'll be back later on tonight to react to everything once I get the sound bites and everything going, and we'll go from there. Joey, thank you for joining me here on the Sports Nerd pre-draft show, and I'll be texting you. Best believe I will be texting.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're going to be ahead of me by quite a bit, so maybe don't.
Okay, so I'll keep that in mind.
But
how about I tell you what? You text me.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'll do that.
We'll
but I will say, while we're
me.
live, I just want you to know that I'm very happy. I'm excited for you going to Pittsburgh, Mr. Wilkerson. Show the wedding ring off real quick.
Oh yeah.
Show the wedding ring. Yeah.
Gosh,
It was forwarded.
I almost left without it today. My wife was not happy. Yeah, I put it down on the dresser to get ready and go shower because it kept falling off, and I almost left without it. My wife goes, "Where's your ring?" I go, "Oh." So.
Dude, but I'm happy for you. I'm happy for the fact you get to go to Pittsburgh, and I'm so excited to see where this draft takes us this year. And I'm happy for you that after a 4-year dream, that now you're here and now you're in Pittsburgh making this happen. And here's to hopefully a great, exciting, and maybe chaotic first round of this draft.
Absolutely, and chaotic I think it will be. Look out for picks between picks 4 through 20, I think that's where it'll be the most chaotic. But we also have shorter times for selections because the NFL cut it down by 2 minutes this year for selection time. So instead of 10, it's the standard 8, and it's going to be rolling. So, yeah, we'll see where it goes from there. But, Joey, I'll see you later tonight if you're still awake.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt about it. I got a job to do, so let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, folks, thank you for tuning in. 93.3 FM, 1320 AM Lynchburg, or open the VTRN Sports app to listen to the NFL draft on your radio coverage, or obviously you can watch it on your TVs if you do, but where's the fun in that? We'll see you later tonight. Goodbye, everybody.